Hello class, today is our egg meeting and this week will be our last meeting before we have our midterm test for the next 2 weeks. Next week, I'm going to share you all of the materials starting from the beginning of the semester until next meeting. So today is our second last meeting and the next meeting will be our last meeting for the material sharing. What is the topic about? The topic is about present perfect continuous. Present perfect continuous is used to show an activity that is started at a certain time at the past, still continues up to the present time. However, it also might continue in the future time. And as well as present perfect, what we have been learning from the previous meeting, present perfect continuous also has connection with the present tense. Why we can say so? Please look at as this timeline. Please consider this green box as the past time. And then we also have the present time. And then this present perfect. This is the border. And also the present perfect continuous. I put these two tenses because I want you to see the difference between present perfect and present perfect continuous. If you still remember, present perfect I did not mention about might continue in the future time, if I am not mistaken. Now, for present perfect continuous, there is word or might continue in the future time. Both of the activity have the connection or have the relationship with the present time. I still remember from the previous meeting, I gave you an example of somebody who has just had his or her dinner and then an hour later you still feel full. The feeling of full, that is the result of what activity that you have done or you did. So the activity started in the past, which is like your eating time, and then after that you feel the result after that. So actually present perfect or present perfect continuous, we are mainly talking about the result, whether you still can feel the result or not. Present perfect and present perfect continuous, both of them are quite the same. However, there is a main difference between them. I cannot tell you right now because I'm afraid that if I tell you more, you will get confused. So let's discuss it one by one. Don't worry, it is not as hard as what I said. Once if you can understand, it will be so easy for you to get it. Let's go to present perfect continuous or the pattern. Of course, when we talk about the pattern, we have the positive, the negative, and also the interrogative. And then later on, we also have the positive answer and the negative answer. For the present perfect continuous, I split it or I divide it into the different usage of the subjects. If you see the pattern over here, you will understand that why do I split it, because I just want to show you that there is a similarity between the present perfect continuous and also present perfect. What is that? That is the use of has and have. I bet that you are still remember the use of has. Has is used by the singular subject like he, she, and it, and also a name of a person, a name of thing, or a name of an animal or anything, as long that there is only one or singular. So here, as we see that from the examples, the use of subjects all of them belong to the singular subjects. And because of the pattern, the singular subject, we have to use has. And this is the characteristic of present perfect continuous. We always see the use of been and also verb ing. Please differentiate between the use of been from the present perfect and present perfect continuous. Let me try to remind you. Present perfect, we use been when we deal with the additional of noun or adjective. If we use verb, we do not use been again for the present perfect. However, for present perfect continuous, we use been here. And after that, we use verb ing. For present perfect, we have to use verb 3. This, we use verb ing. Those are some differences between the present perfect continuous and also present perfect. So you see that all of the verbs are changed into verb ing and then followed by the object. What you need to focus on is this, from subject to verb ing. Okay, the next, we go to the positive form, but for the use of have. Okay, if I have reminded you, the use of has, which only can be used for the singular subjects, now for the use of have, you only can use it for plural subjects, including I. Because I, even though I is singular, but I over here use have. I do not use has. So here you see that all of the subjects over here, they all belong to the plural subjects. And then after that have, and then you see there is been and verb ing. The same thing, right? And followed by the object. Now we go to the negative. For the negative, I also split them up into two different uses according to the subject. So the first subject I discussed is about the singular subjects. And then as the singular subject, you can see that I still use has. If you pay attention here, it is really simple because you just need to plus not between the use of has and been. Just insert the use of not between them, and then you do not need to think anything again. Just simple. Okay, the rest of them stay the same, whether it is the subject, the use of has, been, and also verb ing. All of them stay the same. By the way, has not over here, it's your choice, it's your option. Okay, if you want to change it into hasn't or still want to use has not, go ahead. Now for the next, after the use of has, of course I have to discuss about the use of have for the plural subjects. As well as the singular subjects from the previous slide, you also can see here for the plural subjects, all of them stay the same, as well as in the positive form. The different one only you have to plus not or insert the use of not and put it between have and been. Done. You see, all of them stay the same. There is no change at all. After negative, we go to interrogative. And of course, we discuss one by one from the use of has first. If you pay attention to all of the tenses, which when we talk about the interrogative, all of the auxiliary verb or the to be will have to go to the front, and after that will be always followed by the subject. Here also follow or apply the same rules. You see, has as the auxiliary verb, it also put at the beginning of the sentence, and after that followed by the subject, and then followed by been, and then verb ing. So you see that there is no change at all according to the pattern. So according to the pattern, all of them stay the same. We do not need to think about whether we have to change into verb 3 or verb 2 or maybe SES. No. So all of them stay the same. You just need to remember the order of the interrogative form. Remember to put auxiliary verb at the beginning of the sentence. So how about for the have? Of course, it also applies the same rule. For the plural subjects, it has also the same pattern with the singular subjects. Whether it is have or has, you see the pattern are all the same. Have to be put at the beginning of the sentence, and after that, all of them stay the same. Subject, been, verb ing, and object, all of them stay the same. They do not have any change or transformation into another form or another thing, if I may say. Okay, so just remember like this. All of them auxiliary verb have to be put at the beginning of the sentence for interrogative, and it is not only applied in the present perfect continuous, but it can be also applied to any form of the tense. Now we come to positive answer. The positive answer from the present perfect continuous and for all of the tenses that we have been learning before, of course it will be started by using of yes, and after that followed by the positive pattern or the positive form from the tense itself. And in this time, we learn about present perfect continuous. If you pay attention here, yes followed by the positive pattern and has or have over here, I mix it up. I consider that all of you have understood about the use and about the different usage of has and have. You see Tommy and Gina, because there are two persons, I have to use have. Meanwhile, for the cat, he, she, I use has. The lions of the S word shows that it is plural, more than one, I have to use have. And then the other stay the same, like the positive pattern we have been learning. Okay, now we come to negative answer. As well for the positive answer, you also have the special characteristics owned by them. And for the negative answer, you always have no as the beginning of the sentence. Negative answers, as well as for the other negative answer for all of the tenses, it will be always followed by the negative pattern, like this. Okay, now you see the examples, no, and then followed by the subject, and then followed by has or have, and followed by not again, been, verb ing. You see that there is no change, and this one has the same pattern, has the same form of the negative pattern or negative form of the present perfect continuous. Okay, I think that's all for the use for the pattern for the form of the present perfect continuous. I do really hope that you can understand by watching this video. And remember that for the next meeting, it will be our last meeting before we have our exercise and the review for all of the materials that you have been learning from the beginning of the semester. Thank you for your attention, and then goodbye.